you very much. I'm glad that I have a friend already, so I hope I have more later. Okay, so I'm a parent, so I'll show you that picture later. So I'm a parent. I have 2 boys. So the first one is 13 years old, second one is 8 years old. So this is the second one, this is the first one. So I got their permission to put their pictures here. So with the only exception, which I forgot now, so I was supposed to cover this one, not showing it to you, but now I already show it to you. So as a parent, I guess you might agree for you who are also parents, one of the difficulty things that I experience, my wife also, is to tell my kids to do what they should do. So the things that we think they should do, okay? So that would include something like this, doing homeworks, or cleaning up laundry, dirty laundry. So my kids have this very bad habit of putting all this dirty laundry just on the floor. So that's always very difficult to ask them to do these things. So what is the reason? The reason is because they also have their own things that they think are good things to do rather than doing the things that I ask them to do. So things like something that gives them fun. So for instance, playing computer games or watching TV, okay? So the magic word here is doing something fun. And I guess that's very important here. That's one of the important factors when we talk about happiness. So fun is equals to happy. So happens to be that when I prepare for this talk, I met friends in one of the weekends, and then I observed, they have kids also, they were playing. So while watching them playing, I asked them very simple questions. So because I have been searching in the literature on the net as well, what is the definition of happiness? So there are so many definitions of happiness. So that's why Nick said it's an elusive concept. So I took a different perspective. So I asked those kids, my friends' kids, one by one, independently, and I had very simple questions. What do you think happiness is? So I was quite surprised to find out that the answer is pretty universal, although I asked them independently. So for those kids, happiness is simply doing something fun. Okay, so I guess that's the important thing here. So doing something fun. Okay, so that should be the focus if we are looking at the happiness. So when we do something fun, obviously it could be good or it may not also be good. The thing is that it involves choices. So we have to make choices, the things that we have to do or the things that we shouldn't do. Okay, so there is this trade-off. So question here is that imagine 2 different kind of situations. So on one extreme, we can do whatever we want to do. So there is no restrictions. On the other extremes, we have been told that we can only do one thing, cannot do other things. So what happened here? In the first extremes, when we can do whatever we want, we choose to pursue current happiness. We might be very happy when we do things that we like to do, but we may not realize that down the line in the future, it may create unhappiness. So the choice here is in the temporal, between what should I do today and the result of the things that I do in the future. Now, in the other extremes, when somebody tells me, hey, you have to do this. So here, I may be very unhappy because I am forced to do this now. But it may be the case that down the line in the future, it may be something good for me. So there are many examples of that. So the first example would be something like for instance, watching TV, okay, or eating unhealthy foods. Okay. So maybe fun at that time, but may not be fun, may not be happy in the future. On the other hand, if we are asked to do things, okay, so like for instance, we are forced to exercise. We might not happy to do that, okay, but in the future, this could be something that is very useful. So there's a kind of trade-off that we have. Now, question here is that how do we understand all of this trade-off? So the key here is that choices are important. We have to understand the trade-off, and we have to also understand the way our brain, our mind works and what kind of limitations that we have when we are making choices. Okay? So that's the trade-off things. So we should understand this, and making choices may be something that is very difficult. It could be quite confusing and exhausting experience. So the thing also is that when we decide to do one thing, that would also imply that we forego to do another things. And that other things could be, we don't know, may be important, more important than the things that we do. Okay? So we pass on something that eventually turns out to be very important for something that is not important. So that's what happens, at least for me, that's what I experience from time to time. So this makes me thinking. And it reminds me of this movie that I watched some time ago. So this is a movie, the title is The Pursuit of Happiness, happens to be exactly the same title that we have now. So this is Will Smith, and by the way, the boy there is actually his son, Jaden Smith. So in the movie, he plays as Christopher. So there is one scene in the movie that I think is very interesting because it captures why we make choice, and when we make choice, we might forego something else that may be more important. Okay? So the story was something like this. So the boy was telling the dad, "Dad, can I tell you something funny?" Okay. So the dad said, "Yes, of course." And the boy said, "There was a man was drowning, okay, and there was a boat approaching, and the captain on the boat saw the man and asked the man, 'Do you need help?' And the man said, 'No, thank you. God will save me.' Okay. Then came the second boat, and there was a captain on the boat. The captain also asking, 'Do you need help?' And the man said, 'No, thank you. God will save me.' So he drowned, he died, he went to heaven. So he met God. So the first thing that he said to God, 'God, why didn't you save me?' And God said, 'I sent you two big boats, you dummy.' So that's the whole thing, you know. When we make a choice, we may not realizing that there is another choice that is actually the things that we forego. And that things could be something that is very important. So that's one of the things that we always have to remember. Now, that's why we should understand the trade-off. I'm a behavioral economics, and Nick is my colleague. So what I want to do is to share with you how our mind, our brain process choices that lead us make a certain type of choice. So when we want to have a certain objective, so in this case, pursuing happiness, for instance, so we always try to look at the consequences of the choice that we make, so for the future. So we make a decision, oh, this is something good because I think this will be something that is for me in the future, makes me very happy. Okay? So this is my prediction about the future utility that I get from taking that particular actions. However, research has shown that we are actually very bad at making prediction about future utility. Okay? So this is one example. There was this paper done by Franz Stutzer. So they call this the commuting paradox. Okay? So we know that we graduate and we look for a job. So obviously there is a trade-off when we look for jobs. One possible trade-off would be between salary and the locations. Okay? Location may be far away, we have to commute, okay? Or maybe because our house is something that is far from the place of work, so we have to commute, but the salary is quite big. So in economics, we always think that there is always compensating things that we can always accept such that our utility would remain the same. So this is the same as well. We choose a job that requires us to commute because we think that the salary that we receive will be good enough, big enough to compensate that. So guess what? After a while, you take the job. So every month you get the salary. Salary always goes to your bank account. So it becomes something that is routine. But the disutility from commuting always stay with you every day. So you go, you beat the rush hours, you have to be in the train, you have to be in the bus. You experience this utility almost every day. So here's what we call adaptations. So we very easily adapt to income. We are very happy at the beginning because we have high salary. After a while, it doesn't make any difference anymore. But the utility that we have always stays with us. So that's the reasons why we are very bad at making a prediction about future utility. So that's one of the things. Another thing is that I mentioned earlier about the trade-off between now and the future. So there is this study done by psychologist Walter Mischel. There is a marshmallow there, a very simple study. So basically, the kid there was in the room, and the experimenter said to the kid, here's one marshmallow. Okay? So if you are willing to wait for 20 minutes, you can get another marshmallow. So you get 2 marshmallows. But if you cannot wait, you can eat this marshmallow. So the experimenter went outside the room and let the kid there and observe the kid. Sure enough, some of the kids decided to eat the marshmallow. Some others decided to wait for getting 2 marshmallows. So here's telling us something, that we are different. Some of us are more patient. Some others are very impatient. Some of us are very able at controlling temptation, while others may not be able to control temptations. Okay? So there are extension of that, just to be very brief. So there was this extension done. So the idea is very simple. So basically, there are 2 groups of participants. In one group, they gave a very difficult task, memorizing 7-digit numbers. In the second group, they give a very simple task, memorizing 2-digit numbers. Okay? So while they're doing that, the experimenter brought them into another room, and they were passing the refreshment area. So in the refreshment area, there was a table like that. There were 2 plates. One is chocolate chip cookies. The other one is salad. So for one group, they were given the chocolate chip cookies. The other groups, they were given the salad. Okay? So while they are doing that, and obviously if you eat salad, you see that there is another plate there containing chocolate chip cookies. You might be very tempted to go after that chocolate chip cookie. But if you eat chocolate chip cookie, salad is not so tempting. So what happened? What happened is that when those people who take very difficult tests, they succumb to the temptations very easily. While those people who take a very simple test, they would be able to resist temptations. So this is that study. And then there is another type of behavioral anomaly that we usually do. This is the availability heuristic. Suppose that I ask you, rate whether you are self-confident by thinking 6 to one group, and 12 episodes you show yourself confident. Okay. So getting 6 may be easy. To think about 12 episodes in which you are self-confident is very difficult. So guess what? Those who gave 6 episodes tend to feel more self-confident than those who have to give 12 episodes. So this is another thing. This is also interesting, what we call anchoring, something that we will do when we make decisions. Suppose I ask you the following. Within 5 seconds, estimate this product. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, for another group, I gave you this number. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Guess what will be your answers? So the first one and the second one. So the test was conducted. What happened is that the median estimate for the top was 2,250. The median estimate for the bottom was only 512. The true answer is actually 40,320. Okay. So this is the way our brain can get easily tricked, because we are anchored ourselves on something. Okay. Now, this is very quickly on this. This is single evaluation and joint evaluations. There are 3 groups of participants. Group A is given this big cup. Group B is given the small cup. Group C given 2 cups. Okay? The difference is this is a big cup, but the content is also more than the small cup there. Okay? So what happened is that those people who get the big cup, they value that less to those people who get the small cup, because the small cup overflowing ice cream looks very interesting. The value must be very high. Okay? So they value it highly. But for those groups that were given the two options at the same time, they can actually compare. They can see that this one is more than the other. So they value this one, the big one here, more than the other. Okay, so this is the way our brain can sometimes easily be tricked. So I skip this one, which is similar to that joint evaluation. However, despite of all this anomaly, our brain can be easily tricked. So the good thing is that our brain is also smart. So this is an example. Maybe very hard to read this one. I tried, maybe some of you have seen this one. But if you try to read out this one, the first line, you take some time. Second line, you probably still very difficult. But you can, once you pass the third lines, the rest is just a piece of cake. Very easy. So this message serves to prove how our minds can do amazing things, impressive things. In the beginning, it was hard, but now on the third line, your mind is reading this automatically and blah, blah, blah. So our brain is actually pretty smart, but very often we are also tricked, making some irrational kind of behavior. So we should be aware. Awareness of our limitation is very important. So if we can be aware of that, we can make making choices fun. So the fun element should still be there. So actually I have the concluding video here, which shows you that we should try to make ourselves fun when we have to do something. I know some of you may have seen this. This is from a website called Fun Theory. And this is a very interesting one. I'll let you see this one. Stop. But the idea here is that before, you don't have this piano staircase. But after, you have these things. And when people see that, so that's it. So let's try to have fun when we make choices.